Shalom, shalom. I'm Kaya from GMS Camp here in Phoenix, Arizona. First, I want to say is all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rahachadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders that have taught us this truth according to 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 17. I want to say shalom to the Akwath and the Akim that are listening today. We're going to go into a topic, the 12 tribes of the sand of the sea. You know, the Hebrew Israelites is not about skin color. I'll repeat that. It is not about skin color, the outside appearance. That's not what it's about. Today, many people still have this idea that the Israelites are all white people, or the Israelites are all so-called black people, or the Israelites are all so-called Hispanic people. So let's get into some scriptures that talk about this and see where it goes. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 27, and let's see what it says. And the Lord shall scatter you among the nations, and ye shall be left few in number among the heathen, wherewith the Lord shall lead you. Well, first and foremost, where were we scattered? We were scattered amongst the nations. So what does that mean? Well, we already know how Jake is. If we're scattered amongst the nation, what do you think we were doing with the women? Apparently, we were having babies. Let's go further with this. Let's go into another one. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 64. Let's see what that says. This is Deuteronomy 28, 64. And listen to this. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy father have known, even wood and stone. Well, what was the first thing it was talking about? That we were going to be scattered to all nations, all people. As I said earlier, with Jake, with the Israelites, of course, we mingled with other nations' women. So what would the children come out looking like? They're not all going to be brown or so-called black, or which is nobody's black, which is different shades of brown. When you really think about this, there are so-called Edomites, or actually not Edomites, so-called white people that are actually Jakes. Blue eyes, blonde hair, red hair, blue eyes, and guess what? Full-blown Israelite. They got you fooled from the outside. You know what I mean? So, you got to be careful in this thing. A lot of people need to be very careful before you run out and say something to somebody, because you have no idea who you're talking to. Number one, you may be calling somebody an Edomite. That's not an Edomite. You may be judging them harshly. You know what? Speaking of that, just to remind you, a lot of people have this so-called mixed thing. I'm mixed. So let's go ahead and crush that real quick. Let's go to Numbers chapter 1, verse 18. So we're going to stop that we're mixed people situation. You are what your father is. So let's go to Numbers chapter 1, verse 18, and let's see what that says. And this is Numbers chapter 1, verse 18. And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families, by the house of who? Their fathers, according to the number of the names from 20 years old and upward, by their polls. Who were they looked after? Who were they looked at by? Their fathers, the pedigree of their dad, not their moms. Because a lot of people today is, oh, well, I'm half this, I'm half that, my mom is this, my mom is that. It's not by your mother. It's by your father. If your father is so-called today, so-called black, that's what you are, even though you may look like something else. Will I say this? Yes, I will say that a lot of biracial families, sometimes the kids will come out looking like the mom, depending on what the mother is. If the mother is Chinese, if the mother is so-called white, if the mother is Irish, if the mother is Italian, or whatever she may be called, that a child can come out that way. Speaking of that, let's talk about some actors and singers that you didn't know were Jakes, maybe. Jesse Williams, the country singer. Father is a Jake. Wentworth Miller. He's a guy that's a homosexual that plays on, what does he play on? Prison Break. He also plays on Legend. That's who that is. Ashley Fingerpoint, if I'm saying her name is Franipone. Ashley. I think she's a singer of some sort. She looks like a Caucasian person. Robert Bryson Hall, the second, definitely looks like a Caucasian, but isn't. Chris Humphreys, you know who that is. Blake Griffin, you know who that is. Guess what? Fathers of Jakes. What do they look like on the outside when you look at them? They look what? Caucasian. Or as we would say, Edomites. That's what they look like. So, when you think about this, you better be very careful when it comes down to judging. Matter of fact, let's go into John chapter 7, verse 24, and let's see what Yahushua says about it. This is John 7, verse 24. And listen to this. It says, this is John chapter 7, verse 24. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Do not judge according to the appearance. Point blank, period. That's Yahushua saying that. So that's really important. You judge by the Spirit. You may say, well, how you judge by the Spirit? Well, if you're able to talk to somebody and you give them this truth, you're going to see what their spirit is. If their spirit is not with it, ain't trying to hear it, they scoff, they get upset, they get angry, it's a good chance. And I'm just saying, there's a good chance that they could be something else. They may not be a Jake. But we got to understand there are Jakes that are, don't believe in God. Don't believe in Yahushua. In other words, they're atheists. You may get into it with an atheist that's still a Jake. You may get into it with a Jake Israelite that looks like a Caucasian and still an atheist. It's impossible. So it's a very, what do they call it? Dancing on thin ice. If you're not careful, you can fall through the cracks. But this lesson wasn't to be long. It was something I was listening to with one of the apostles that was talking about it. That about Jake or judging for the outside appearance, and it's not wise to do. So anyway, I hope you was edified. I'm gonna say all praise to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rahach Chadash, Shalom.